Mystery of the Circular Room, from the anthology The Master of Mysteries, by Meade and Robert Eustace.
It so happened that the circumstances of fate allowed me to follow my own bent in the choice of profession. From my earliest youth, the weird, the mysterious, had an irresistible fascination for me. Having private means, I resolved to follow my unique inclinations, and I am now well known to all my friends as a professional exposer of ghosts and one who can clear away the mysteries of most haunted houses. To explain, by the application of science, phenomena attributed to spiritual agencies has been the work of my life. Up to the present, I have never had cause to regret my choice.
Evening.
Good evening.
First time in Hawkhurst?
It is, actually. Are you the landlady?
I am. Crown and Thistle Inn. We have a room available if you're looking for one. Dinner, too.
That would be marvelous.
Go in the front, up the stairs, second door on the left. I'll have something hot cooked up in no time. My husband is keeping the bar if you wanted a pint before bed.
Thank you.
Mrs. Johnson. Now move along with your things. I'll have your meal ready in half hour.
The room was small, with a nice view of the yard and road. My supper was excellent. Mrs. Johnson was a supreme cook, finer than some dining establishments in London. Afterwards I found Mr. Johnson in the bar.
Evening. You must be the young fellow my wife said is lodging with us tonight.
I am. I'm Belle, by the way. I've come down from London for a short holiday.
Oh, this is a lonely place. We don't often have a soul staying for us for a month at a time.
And yet, it is a lovely spot. I should have thought tourists would have thronged to it. It's an ideal place for photographers.
Are you one?
Not in particular. It's more of a hobby while on holiday.
We don't often have company to stay in the inn, but now and then we have a stray artist come through. Why, it's not 3 weeks back. We had a gentleman like you, only a bit younger, stay with us for a week or two. He was an artist and drew from morning till night. Ah, poor fellow.
Why do you say that?
I have good cause, sir. Here, wife, this gentleman has been asking me questions about a visitor, Mr. Wentworth. But perhaps we ought not inflict such a dismal story upon him tonight.
Pray do. What you've already hinted at arouses my curiosity. Why should you pity Mr. Wentworth?
He's dead, sir.
Dead?
It was all his own fault. Ah, dear. It makes me cry almost to think of it. He was as nice a gentleman as I ever set eyes on, and so strong, hearty, and pleasant. Well, sir, everything went well until one day he said to me, "I'm about to leave you, Mrs. Johnson. I'm going to a little place called the Castle Inn, further up the Moran." "The Castle Inn," I cried. "No, Mr. Wentworth, that you won't, not if you value your life." "And why not?" says he. "Why should I not visit the Castle Inn? I have a commission to make some paintings of that special bend of the river." Poor fellow. He looked at me with as merry blue eyes as you ever saw in anybody's head.
Since he insisted on going to Castle Inn, I offered our horse and trap to drive over as often as he wanted. That Castle Inn ain't a fit place for a body or soul to put up at.
What do you mean?
That's just what he asked me. It's said to be haunted. And what does happen in that house the Lord only knows. But there's not been a visitor at the inn for some years.
Not since Bailiff Holt came by his death there.
Came by his death? And how was that?
The poor artist asked the same thing. Oh, we're so much alike.
What happened to Bailiff Holt?
God knows, but I don't. At the coroner's inquest, it was said that he died from syncope, whatever that means.
Folks around here said it was from fright.
I told that to Mr. Wentworth, and he just laughed at me. He didn't mind a word I said, and the next day he was off, carrying his belongings with him.
Well, and what happened?
What happened, sir? Just what I expected. 2 days afterward came the news of his death. Poor young gentleman. He died in the same room Bailiff Holt had breathed his last. And oh, if there wasn't a fuss and to-do.
For a dead artist.
It turned out he was no end of a swell, and had rich relations and big estates coming to him.
Of course, there was a coroner's inquest and all the rest, and great doctors came down from London, and our Dr. Stanmore.
He lives down the street.
Yes, and he was sent for, and though they did all they could and examined Mr. Wentworth, as it were, with a microscope, they could find no cause of death.
They gave it out it was syncope, just as they did in the case of poor Holt. But, sir, it wasn't. It was fright. Sheer fright. The place is haunted, its mysterious, dreadful house, and I only hope you won't have nothing to do with it. I've only come to tell you to come round the back door when you come in. The front hall's just been scrubbed.
That's a strange story. Your wife has excited my curiosity. I should quite like to get more particulars.
There doesn't seem to be anything more to tell, sir. It's true what the wife says, that the Castle Inn has a bad name. It's not the first, nor the second death that has occurred there.
You mentioned your village doctor. Do you think he could enlighten me on the subject?
I'm sure he would do his best, sir. He lives only 6 doors away in the Red House. Maybe you won't mind stepping down the street and talking to him?
You're sure he would not think it a liberty?
Not he, sir. He'll be only too pleased to exchange a word with someone outside this sleepy little place.
Then I'll call on him.
Good then. Send my regards.
I will.